We're here today to talk about digital twins, turning your Revit into a digital twin. How many of you here have Revit models that you on your project? All right. So, how many of you actually use them? How many of you don't want to use them? so, and so we're going to talk about turning your BIM or turning your Revit model into a digital twin. How many of you are familiar with digital twins other than just being a buzzword? You don't count. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to hopefully open up your eyes. And so since we're a small group, feel free to ask questions. Stop, say Mark, stop, or raise your hand. Let's discuss it, okay? Because I got plenty of time built in here. I've got so we can have a lively discussion through the presentation. I can also do a live demo afterwards. So a little bit about me. Been in the industry for 27 years now. Been in the BIM industry since 2006. Building commissioning is a passion of mine. Absolutely love that approach for technologies. I come to Autodesk 3 years ago to focus on owner technology. Did you know that Autodesk has an owner's focus now? Yeah, somewhat. But we're known for our design and construction tools, but now we have a whole group that is starting to focus on owners and what owners need. It's part of the reason why Tara and I have been working with the University Peer Exchange Group. We'll talk more about that. But we really want your input, and we really need your input. So my current role, I'm on the Autodesk Tandem team. I'm doing a little bit of everything except development. I'm probably the dumbest one on the Tandem team. So I'm not a developer. I don't claim to be a developer, but I love speaking. I love sharing knowledge. And then my best thing is being Caleb's dad. For those of you that don't know my story, Caleb is autistic. He was part of what spurred my passion early in my career was I was doing presentation at a hospital in Little Rock for the university healthcare systems there. And as I was speaking and started talking about Caleb, one of the ladies started crying. And she was just like, she told me afterwards, she's like, it was good to have somebody that was connected with what we do and seeing that we serve people that serve us. And it really started talking to me. So I talk about Caleb kind of in every presentation now because he truly brought my passion to my career. And he helped me understand that we can help make people's lives better through building, design, and construction. And one of my approaches is any building that I touch, design, comment on, is my mom going to be serviced by that building? Is my son going to be attending school in that building? Because I want that building to be functioning the best it can. One of our crazy shooter scenarios, I want all the systems to function correctly. So that's the approach I take. That's what I try to bring to the digital twin. So, naturally, what is going on? It is. All right. There we go. We'll have to do it the hard way. So where are you on your digital twin journey? Do we know what a digital twin is? We haven't started yet. Exploring the concept. How many people started their digital twin journey? Just tippy-toed in it? All right, so cool. So exploring it, I think that's why you're here today, right? So, wow. So do you feel like you have expertise in your staff to do a digital twin, to take that next step in the BIM journey? Or do you have a business case, or do you even know the business case? So this is some of the things we're gonna talk about. Now, this one right here is something that worries me. At ASHE, the Healthcare Engineering Conference 2 weeks ago, the respondents said that they get most of their O&M documents, their closeout documents, between 6 to 12, 6 to 18 months. 65% of the people in that room got their closeout documents 6 to 18 months. That's just wrong. You need that documentation to run the building, right? You should be getting that documentation early. We've got to figure out a better process for this. So, just a safe harbor statement, I'm going to give you some things that we're working on, some early concepts of what we're doing with the digital twin, and then kind of what we're going to talk about: digital twin, digital handover, how we can connect your buildings to your existing systems. The thing that we're working on with Tandem is we want to use the systems you have in place instead of making you rewrite your entire way of doing things. Because I think that's been a problem in the past, is we've tried to force you into a new path, into a new way, where you have your systems, they're integrated into your workflows. Why not incorporate those into the digital twin workflow? So it's a little different thought process than we've had in the past. And then I'm going to truly show you the roadmap. If you were in our Spark session yesterday, you saw a little bit of it, but I'm going to show you where we're going, and I want your input on what you think of that. All right. So we all have models that look like similar to this, right? They're stored on our servers, they're stored in our clouds. But do they ever get used? Do they ever get picked apart? Do we ever truly, except for Devon, do we truly trust the data that's in the model? You know, I worked for that MEP firm for 14 and a half years. I know what was in those models. I don't trust that data. You know, we've had drawings like this, we've had views like this, we've had data like this, but is it truly usable? Can we break it down? Can you break it down without opening a Revit license? Would you like to be able to break the models down without being able to open a Revit license? Revit's complicated, is it not? No? Jim, come on. So I've run Revit MEP for a long time, and I still have not completely perfected it. You know, I can do some great diagrams like this. You know, draw some sections, elevations, draw a floor plan. I can draw a fire sprinkler system. But that was what I did. That's what I do. You manage a facility. You manage space. You shouldn't have to be a BIM expert to use our software and to use our models. And that's where I'm trying to address Autodesk and my leadership is we need to make a tool that owners can use that don't have to know how to do a deep dive in our software. Does that sound like something that is truly needed, right? So, all right. So what if I can turn your models into this? Let's see if it'll play. Hey, it plays. So here we're going to go into an equipment room, mechanical room here, and we're going to look at a pump. So we're going to click on the pump, and we're going to have your parameters. We're going to be able to look at the pump, open it up, and get our assembly diagrams, O&M manuals, maintenance schedules, all of that type of information right there. Then we're also going to be able to see what system it's connected to. And we can filter even by left hand or right hand VEV boxes. We can go that deep. So here we can actually see the airflows, the temperature range, and graphs all by streaming connected data. This streaming data is in alpha right now. We are going to release the beta at Autodesk University at the end of the year. So all the green dots are sensors in the building. How many of you have sensors modeled? what I thought. You don't have to have the sensors modeled with the way we've got it set up. So you can attach them to an object or you can attach them to a room. So we realized that, hey, there's going to be things that are not modeled, right? Because sometimes we want a level 300, maybe we may want a level 400, maybe we may want a level 500. But what if we've got an existing building that we just want modeled to 200? You know, just for geometry, we can use this approach inside of that for a digital twin. So basically a digital twin, or the transformation is really happening. And what we're seeing in some other industries right now is this really becoming the heart of business strategies. I'm going to Dublin next week to work with a very large IT firm on their digital twin strategy. And they're looking at this at enabling the data, of truly using the data from the models and from the building commissioning, connecting all of that information together in one unit so that we can get to different places. This particular company uses 9 different systems to manage their campus. And I'm sure most of you have that or more, right? How do you access them? Do you access them all from one place? No? So what if we could give you a way to access some of that data through a digital replica? That's where we're going. That's what we're trying to do. Many people have different definitions of a digital twin. Autodesk is basically a digital replica of the built environment. You leave your interpretation up to that. But what we want to get, sorry, I'm not used to holding a microphone. I got to talk with my hands. So we want to be able to simulate that building as it's sitting there in the built environment, or even during construction. So the way we are looking at our digital twin is our digital twin starts at concept. If we've got geometry, we've got enough to start the digital twin. Then we can start building through DDs. We can, at the 100% DDs, 50% CDs. We can bring that model in any time so that we can start simulating what's there. Then we can start predicting information. And then in the future, we're going to start predicting maintenance. We're going to start predicting crowd flows, workflows. Then we're going to hopefully have the Inform tool in the digital twin. So how many of you have TV views up so that monitors your CMMS, monitors some of your other systems, your BAS? What if we could have TV views up the twin that lights up when our systems go out of tolerance, when we get those alerts? So that is what we're trying to build with this, and then we're trying to transform all that into the built asset by tying the commissioning, space planning, maintenance, performance tuning, and have a really good asset portfolio. And a lot of times we misconstrue the asset as mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire. But what about all the other assets in the building? What about the people? What about the spaces? Those are assets as well. Sometimes I think I overlook those, and we've got to start looking at this so that we can better manage the portfolios, because you manage a lot of buildings. You don't just manage one, you manage entire campuses. So as we start looking at the portfolio and planning, and then going to procurement, capital planning, we're wanting to be able to tie all of this software into this digital twin so that while you're managing the building, we're also making better decisions for your portfolio. So right now, and this is more of an information slide, is the digital twin maturities. As you start hearing more about it, I wanted you to know what we are. So the descriptive is where we are right now, and informative with data. So descriptive data that informs you of what's in the building. The predictive is where we start looking at the maintenance and what's going on in the building. Then the comprehensive is where we have everything working, flowing, and functioning. And then the autonomous is where the building is learning itself and suggesting ways to maintain, ways to operate that building. We're currently in the descriptive and informative stage right now. So that's where a lot of companies are um, in the process. And this is one of the things my boss and I talk about is all this data that you get, you know, all this data that Andy hands over to Joe. How much of it does he truly use? Joe has it pretty defined what he wants. But there's more data that you hand over to Joe than he truly needs to operate. Where does all that data go? What all happens to it? So we need to make sure that we're finding ways to get that number lower because you need this data for more than just operating. You need to have this data for the future of the building, the 40, 50. I've got one client that's telling me he's got 60-year buildings that he's planning on. We need the data. We don't need it to go use from construction. So we've got to figure out better ways. And part of that digital twin is I want to get away from this. You get data on jump drives, right, or CDs, or handed over in the cloud. Is it organized? Is your O&Ms in one file? Or is it multiple files broken out by asset type and by manufacturer? So what we want, or what we're trying to get to, is what you really need is a digital replica of that building with your data organized. How many hours does it take you to get your CMMS up and running on a new facility or a renovation? Anybody? I'll take a drink of water. 6 months, year, 2 months, 1 month. I know you get yours up and running pretty quick, right? Because yes. So so – 10 seconds at the latest. So and that includes all your maintenance schedules as well. Gotcha. So if we can start organizing that data as well, that's what we need to do in a truly digital format. So here we want to harness your BIM to make it smarter. And as we're about to see, this is what we're going to try to do. Is we want to break down your classifications of your systems. How many of you use like OmniClass, Uniformat, Master Format? So you all classify your data, right, in some format. How many of you have your own format that you classify it in? Okay, so we actually give you ways to do that as well. We allow you to build your own data dictionary inside of here. So it's the parameters you want, it's classified how you want, and then we let you build a facility template to easily replicate it inside of our system. So you can actually build a template for classrooms, build a template for admin, build a template for sporting facilities. You build a template for your maintenance buildings. So we're trying to give you ways in the digital twin to classify, to have your own parameter sets, and then even a deeper dive of parameter sets if you want it inside the specific asset type. So we want you to build, we want to give you a building block for your data. This also includes links to your CMMS, your building automation systems, your building management systems, any laser scans that you want. Think of being able to come to one place and open up any system. And then in the future, all of these systems being able to talk together with each other. So that's where we're going. But we start this with capturing the design with the design models. So you say, how do I start my digital twin? It's as easy as drag and drop that Revit file into our software, and we consume that file and basically explode it. And we break it down even to the number of pieces of sheetrock, even the sizes of pieces of the wallboard. And what makes it even easier is if you've got Terra here with the docs and build platform. If we have those platforms up and running, we can actually have those models, and so they can be designing that model and it still be in the digital twin, and you starting to add data to the digital twin. That's how we can do DD, CD stages. Now you can also do this with from your servers. I know we got one client that's actually here where their models are all on their servers and not the cloud, and so they update those manually. And then the installation of commissioning documents, data solutions, Autodesk Build in Excel. So what? How many of you use Autodesk Build? You, okay. So Autodesk Build has a tool called Assets, where you can actually capture the asset data in the field, on the phones, on your iPads. So what we are working on is a way to auto capture that data, is to push your Revit model into the digital twin. You populate your parameters inside of the digital twin. Then you push those parameters back to the construction team that you want them to capture. And then they capture that data on their devices, and it pulls right back into the digital twin. And then that room number distributes to the CMMS. That room number distributes to capital planning. That room number distributes to space planning. That room number distributes to your room roundings, your rounding software. That's our goal. That's what we're working toward, is to tie all this together and use that database that comes in to the digital twin and help it populate your systems. And say a change is made in your space management tool, say a change is made in Archibus, it comes in, it changes in Famous, or it changes in Maximo. So that's where we realize you use many systems. So that's what we're trying to do. Make sense? Is this a decent path to go down? It's not going to be easy, but we're working, and that's basically my job is to make this easier for you. Is we've always looked at assets and that asset data, but have we ever really looked at how all that system works? And yeah, we know because we've managed buildings for years. We know what's connected to that VEV box, what system that's going down. We know what's connected to that air handling unit. We know what's connected to that pump. But to be able to visually see it adds tremendous value. And then, how many of you have changed jobs over your career? Walked into a building walked into a campus or building you've never been in before or never worked in before? So what we're going to do is give you access to data like this in an easy format, non-Revit format, so that people can start using the 3D geometry in your buildings to learn those buildings, to use it during training of a new hire. Because our senior staff has a lot of data up here, right? That's nowhere else. And we've got to start capturing some of that data and tying, because our staff, our techs, they know the asset systems and spaces, right? They know pretty much how it's connected. Or the good ones do, right? So we've got to start capturing all this data and tying it together in ways like we've never before, so that we can get a better result. And then hopefully what will happen is we start all becoming more transparent. I know we've talked about transparency for years, But we get the owner, the architect, and contractor all working toward a similar goal. We educate. We understand. We do, like Joe and Andy. They've educated. They've worked the system. They're getting this down to where this is becoming the deliverable and accelerating operational readiness. You know, one of the things I did for a hospital in Arkansas is we used a similar approach, and we got O&Ms. We got 60 gig of data delivered 92 days before they ever saw a patient on that campus. So it can be done if it's applied in the correct way. Andy, we also got that contractor paid at when they handed over that document instead of after the contract was done or the building was opened. Yeah, there you go. So this is what we want to try to get to, is delivering the twin to help you. And then once we do that, then we want to transform the data, and we want to connect it all. And this is kind of what I've been talking about, is your operational solutions and data. In the 3D floor plans, we'll be able to color code these by department, by your asset ID. I know Joe has OSU asset IDs. We can actually color code those by room IDs, whatever you need right there. It's all in the way we're handling the filters. Then we can also, you know, the tickets, alerts, schedules, technicians. What if we can pop up, you know, besides your CMMS, what if we could pop up an alert in a room that says, hey, this room is out of compliance during one of your walkthroughs? Or this room is, you know, you get your too hot and your too colds, right, in your dorms. What if we could pop up the area where those are too hot or too cold to see it's actually a person's fault or an equipment fault if we've got a whole line of rooms coming up that, and have that visual graphic that we've kind of been missing before. So that's kind of where we're going. And then working with building management systems, lighting controls, you know, Acuity brands, the space management working, you know, Archibus, Nivolo, all of those type. We want to be able to sync all that information up. Performance management. I saw a really cool weather graphic here a few days ago that our team created. That it was for the north, but it actually auto generated a work order for snow out of the twin, because we looked at the weather data, we looked at the work order system, and we realized, hey, we need to do something like that right there. So we're doing some really interesting things, really interesting concepts. And then we're also looking at the real estate management as well. So we're trying to encompass everything. Is there anything that we've left out that we need to be thinking about more? Come on, you can answer. Any thoughts? Joe, what do you think? I mean, that's a big gamut. There's a lot here. You know, this is my expertise right here, so I am really focused on this. I'm learning more about this right here right now. You know, I have worked with Johnson Controls, Siemens, Honeywell in the past. We're in my former career of MEP, so y'all got to tell me to pull the microphone up. I'm sorry. But so I'm trying to work with our team to help them understand what we need, and we've already said no to several things in the development of this, in working with this, and like the University Peer Exchange. You know, we've had some tremendous. We're listening to what that group says, and we've already went back to our software developers and said, hey, we need to change this. Our clients are saying this. So, and that's how we're going to be able to make this owner tool a better tool than what we could have. I can't really talk about that right now. There's some legal things around that. We are looking into the GIS, into having, like the indoor GIS. Uh, we so I can talk about this. We are looking at a campus portfolio level, and then when you dive into that campus level, then you can dive into a building level of the digital twins. So you can look at it holistically as a campus, or look at each individual building. So yes, so we're getting there. We started interior, um, or more vertical right now, but that is something that is being asked for. So so this product has not been bought by Autodesk. It has been built from the ground up inside of Autodesk by a team separately out of the construction software company, out of the construction software side. So we had to start somewhere. That's why we started with Revit files. Now we've got IFC files. Now we're going to be looking at Navisworks files. Um, right now we're focused on this right here, the building management system, getting the data streams coming in, getting those alerts from the BAS coming in. That is on our roadmap, but it's still a little ways out. Great question, though. I wish I could talk more about it. There's a little legal barrier right there that we're trying to get through. So right now it is on a station in the engineer's office, but the future roadmap is to have the iOS app and the Google Play app. Let's see here. It doesn't like something about this connection. So right here is Joe's building that I showed yesterday. But I'll move over here to my normal demo building. And let's go back here to me. So here, whoops, what is it not showing that? Sorry. It doesn't like something about this up here. Oh, I know what it is. I'm connected to the conference upstairs, I bet. So we can save views, and I can have like tech views, and I can actually come in here and go into the boiler room. And then I can actually touch this information right here and get the properties and all the information about that boiler. And I can actually even go in and look at my assets if I wanted to, inside of how it was commissioned. I can, so right here, let's come up. So I can come in here. If I want to go to the electrical room, I can come into the electrical room, look at the panels with the names there. Or I can go into the bigger mechanical room and start looking at all this information. Now this is not Revit, this is Tandem. Then if I wanted to, I can come in here and let's see. So my architectural assets, there is all of my doors. Different architectural assets. And if I wanted to inventory that real fast, I can do this right here. It's going to build an inventory of all those doors, and then I can export that inventory list out. Is that what you're asking about here? So, so right here, this is all of your managed equipment broken down by, that's all your mechanical equipment, all your plumbing fixtures, lighting devices, specialty equipment. And I can click on, if I want to know more about this air handling unit, I can click on it right there and get that information right there. So we're working on different style of views. If I want to see, let's see, just my asset list right here. Bring this here. So there's all of my assets that I manage in this particular building in their true locations. Now I've also got a view in here. Let's see. Where is it here? Where did I drop that earlier? Asset cluster. So there's that asset cluster. And then asset suite text. So there's another cluster of different assets. And so if I want to see all of my assets, where'd it go? This is not as functional as floor. There we go. Here we go. We'll do this. So here is a cluster of assets by floor. So we've got different filters to break all this down in many different ways. If I want to come over here, and so let's go back here. Let's turn this off. And if I want to see all of my fire extinguishers, I can type in fire right there. And then I can type in, I've got 24 fire extinguishers in there. And right there's my 24 fire extinguishers. Making sense? How it's breaking everything apart and we're able to do different things. So what's allowing us to do this is this filtering system right here. So I've got 4,433 different ways I can filter this model. So you can filter it to 3D, 2D, floor plan views, ever how you want it. So and this is running on hotel internet. So this model right here was a level 300. And what we did, let me get back here to where, so what I did was I knew what assets I wanted to manage. I brought in my asset ID. That's the only parameter I used from Revit was my asset ID. Everything else was brought in from my commissioning software through an Excel upload. So if I go here to, let's see, my managed assets, where am I at here? And then I can run an inventory here, export this out, download, and look at the ops link is blank right now. Come on, Excel. And then, so let's just type in Mark right here. There, save, there, and now I'm going to import. And then let's go here to my downloads. And there we go. Thank you. Not nervous at all. So there, the ops link. Change the name to Mark. That's how fast you can change the information. And then we're working on a Revit tool, a Revit add-in, to be able to. I made that change there. Then we could pull that change back into Revit, so you keep your model up to date as well. That's our goal, at least. What you're seeing right now is everything that we have truly working inside the model that's publicly available. So now this is what's coming. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Yes. That's correct. All right, so any more questions real quick on while we're here? So we are using this viewer right here is a heavily modified Forge viewer that is not part of Forge. I think the political way to say that. So it's a viewer that is built on top of Forge, just like anybody else can do it. We've just heavily modified it. So like right here, all you have to do is to import a model, is to grab one right here. And let's see, so I can come in here to my Autodesk docs, come in here to my project files. Let's come down here. Let's see UMS plant, project models, and then let's go here to UMS, and then I can actually, let's just put this model in right here. And I'm going to import that model in, and it's going to start bringing the data into Tandem and separating it all out. So that's how easy it is to get a model into the system. And depending upon model size and internet speed, I've seen it take as little as 30 seconds to. I've got an 8.3 gig model in here that took about an hour to process. Of course, how many of you have handled an 8.3 gig model? It's beefy, isn't it? You got to have a monster machine to do that. All right. So we've got 20 minutes. All right, so I'm going to skip on through here. I want to show you our roadmap. Let's see if I can get up. I'm sorry? 15 minutes, okay. So our roadmap is now, we have what we're calling our twin building. This is available. Next is our facility monitoring. We're releasing the beta at Autodesk University. And then optimizing portfolios with graphs, charts, and all that type of information. Then we have REST APIs. We're going to have a Tandem SDK, and then we are going to have vertical extensions for CMMS and IWMS. That is our roadmap. This is all publicly available on our website for you to see as well. And you can actually comment and make suggestions on what you want directly on what you want us to work on our website. So we're a little different than other Autodesk products, is we're putting everything out there because we need your help. So assets, we want the context of them. Then we want your managed, what assets you want to manage. And then we want to know what assets you want to connect your data streams to. And you're asking, how are we doing this? Because it is a challenge. So we've got our Tandem cloud layer here that's on AWS for our dashboards, our analytics. And then our potential failures to tie into the operational history. Then we are building this edge. We have a team dedicated to this connector right here. That has always been the most difficult part of everything. We're working with these companies to integrate their information systems. We're most farther along with that company right there. So we are in the process. You know, we realize we've got to monitor different systems and monitor it different ways. So that's what we're trying to do. Personas here. All right, so this is who we think will be using the softwares and how it's what we're building. So specifying the data, that's going to be our BIM managers, our facility managers, capital planning people. So we're actually specifying what you want as an operational team, not what the contractor wants to deliver you. Two different things, right? So we've got to start specifying that. So we're going to give you a way for that. We're going to give you a way to capture the data, to view, query, and update, and normalize it. Another thing that our team is working on, how many of you validate the data before it goes into the CMMS or your management systems? You know, does that asset ID have 6 letters and 2 characters? We're working on this to validate the information because we want that room number to propagate to all your other softwares. It needs to be right. So that's one of the things we're building in the validate. We are currently right here in our roadmap. You know, the monitor is to ingest the data. These are the personas that we are looking at. You know, and then inform and predict is truly coming down the road once we get there. We're trying not to bite off too big a piece to put it out to the public at one time. And then, this is kind of my leave behind, is we're actually putting our suggested workflow for doing this and how to make it out, how to build a digital twin. With what we're thinking, you need to specify the data. We need to get the digital twin set up. Then we need to be thinking about views. So you're thinking, man, I've got all these views in Revit that are already created. But are they truly the views that you need to operate the building? So what if Tandem could come with predefined views for levels, for spaces, for HVAC systems, for life safety systems, for even first responder views? What if so in this breakdown and create views, I have given Tandem 40 different view types that I've worked with different facilities people to come up with. So, and that's view types, that's not views. That would be a 3D floor plan of every floor, a 2D floor plan of every floor, a space management floor plan for every floor, 2D and 3D. Same thing for all your systems, even your FF&E. You know, we can do all that. So I'm trying to gather data from you to make this setup better and easier for you. So if you got some comments, concerns, we're even going to need the GIS view inside of here. So I'd love to talk to you about it because I need your help. That's the easiest way to say it. And then once we start building the building, we tag the assets in whatever way you tag them. Then we start making sure that they're classified, and we're reviewing the data requirements as we start capturing the data. And then we've got this validate tool before anything is ever handed over. And this is not just at closeout. This is all the way through the construction cycle. So we're trying to break some molds and thought processes of handover is only at the end of the project. No, it's not. So we're looking at ways to legally hand over the data and legally timestamp it so that the contractor has their legal and the owner has their legal. We're looking at ways of, like Autodesk Docs, of being able to transfer the documentation from Autodesk Docs from the GC into the owner's portfolio, so that way the GC has a copy for their legal reasons, and then the owner has their copy for their legal reasons and operations. So it's not a perfect process. We're trying, but we really want to give you a better way to use your Revit models, to use your BIM, and to take it to that next step, because that's where we see it's going. You know, like I said, I'm going to Dublin to work with a client next week. Get back Friday night, turn around, leave Sunday morning, and go to Dublin. You know, I was talking to a healthcare engineering group, asked them the same questions. We need your help. If you've got any recommendations, we'd love to have it, because we want to make this a tool that's easy to use. Joe used the word simplify yesterday. That's what we need, because you have to manage a huge campus. Joe, you got 600 plus buildings? 700? 1,300. So I was way off there. Oh well, I'm always a little off anyway, aren't I? But you know, we've got to give you better ways to do your job, and that's something that they've hired me to do. But I need experts like you to help guide me so that my development team can build what you need for a digital twin. But I feel like we've got a good concept moving. The people that I've been working with, we've seen some really good things. Just last week, I built a furniture floor plan for a 16-story building in Texas, and I had every asset ID for what they had in the furnitures in there. The conversation totally changed once they showed that to the right person in their procurement department, because they wanted to know how much furniture do I have in this building. We gave them an inventory list in under a minute. So fine. So the what I can't believe I hadn't said this, but the one thing that I want is figure out one thing that we can help you with a digital twin, and then let's go after that thing, work the process, get that process simplified, and then we build. The thing that I don't want you is we don't have to build this all at once. We're going to build this incrementally. So let's figure out what you need help with the most. That's where we start. So if you want to implement some questions, comments, I'll give you back 9 minutes, or I can show the software more, whatever you want. Okay. So in the documents or in the model? So the model, yes. So we do have an update button. Let's see if I can get here to it here. We realize that this right here is, so like right there, I have an update button. And so if it's on our construction cloud, then we will, all you do is hit update and it pulls it automatically from the construction cloud. Just the updates to the model. It doesn't pull the whole model. Now if it's on your servers, then you drag and drop it and it updates the whole model. So, we're working on it. So, and to prove that we're working on it, let's see if I can do this right here. Oh, did I not? I didn't save it. Oh, I'm sorry. I will look. I'll show you afterwards. I know where it is, but I'll have to dig through it. Any other questions? So what we're building, or in the background, what I saw is, so this is our front end right now. This is going to be completely different in a few weeks. So think of like having a, like Ohio State, University of Arkansas, Western Michigan, you know, University of Washington, St. Louis, and then be able to drive in to each campus and into the buildings in each campus. So you'd be able to run the filters at the campus level or at the building level. That I've got pictures. They're they're not publicly available, so I hid them on my computer and I forgot exactly. I know where they're hid, but uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So so you would bring Andy into your environment, into your tandem environment, and allow him to update the models. What That's how it is right now. One of the things that we're exploring is for Andy to have ownership of that model with you in the model, and then at handover, us digitally hand that over to you once you've verified everything is the way you want it. So there's kind of two thought processes around that right now. Is one is you own the hub to begin with, and you invite who you want to, and you can invite Andy into building A and building C, and he doesn't have to be in building B per se. That's correct. That's correct. So yeah, Tandem is not connected to the Autodesk Construction Cloud. It is a separate product because that word construction in Autodesk Construction Cloud we don't want to be associated with because we are a owner's tool. We're being helped by the construction data, but we didn't want people to be confused by us having Autodesk Construction Cloud in our title. That's why we're Autodesk Tandem. I can't, yeah, I think, I try not to say that too much. Good, good, good questions though. That's, so we are thinking on two different legal ways to do this because we've got to have those legal timestamps. That's a little bit harder to solve. Any comments from you? You've been quiet. Okay. Yes. So so the prediction model that we're looking at right now is more of a maintenance. We're not looking at. So are you talking the simulation pre or during construction or post construction? Post. So we will have some simulation tools. I don't know exactly how far we plan on taking the simulation. That's toward the back end of our roadmap. But I would love to know if you could get me a list of what you would like to see. I can definitely pass that on to the development team. That's exactly what I'm here for, is to find out what you want and need, so that I can take that back to the development team. That's also what our UPE group is all about. Is this lady right here is taking recommendations that come in that UPE group back to the development team so that we can make that tool better for universities. I know. So 3 minutes, 2.5. I got it. I'm watching. I know how those Vols are. Go Vols, right? No, 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 no. Oh, so there was a question in the back earlier. I don't think I got to. I answered it. That's amazing. I will be at my booth, and I'm really easy to find on the internet with my last name, so it's rather unique. So, but thank y'all. Great questions. I hope you learned a little bit. Over the next year or two, we're really going to have a really slick tool for owners that I believe can make a difference in the owner's realm and how we own and operate buildings. We're getting there. We need some patience, but we need you. We need you to help us. Yes, sir. No. Uh huh. That's going to be part of the verify stage that we're building. So, like the client that I'm going to in Dublin, we've got 4 general contractors in tandem. We've got a commissioning agent. We've got a FM consultant. We've got the operations team, and then we've got Autodesk, all inside of tandem, populating all that parameters. They're managed. So it's a big site. I'll put it that way. So the models for it's 5.2 gig. So that's what we're working with. So it's really interesting. But thank y'all. Feel free to ask any questions. Come up anything later. Love to talk about it. I love this stuff. I'm really nervous for some reason, more than natural day. I think because Joe's sitting in here. But and this wasn't functioning like I wanted it to either. So. All right. Thank y'all. Have a great day.